listening to 40 Weeks, a production of the Pregnancy Podcast with Vanessa Merton. Visit pregnancypodcast.com/week for all of the 40 Weeks resources and sign up with your due date to get each episode delivered to your inbox when you start a new week of your pregnancy. Thank you for tuning in to the 40 Weeks podcast. Welcome to week 34. Only 6 weeks to go. You can see a picture of what your baby looks like this week, read the transcript, and access the additional resources at pregnancypodcast.com/week 34. Your baby was as big as a butternut squash last week, and they're growing to about the size of a pineapple. Your baby measures 17.8 inches or 45.3 centimeters and weighs 5.2 pounds or 2.4 kilograms. As your uterine and abdominal walls stretch and thin, more light is making its way into the womb. The increase in light causes your baby to open and close its eyes in response. This should help them distinguish between night and day, but don't expect them to be on your schedule at birth. Those tiny fingernails have probably reached the tips of your baby's fingers by now. Once your baby's born, you will be amazed at how fast its nails grow. Get ready to be their manicurist and cut or file them every few days. For more information on what to expect during the first few days, check out the episode on bringing your baby home at pregnancypodcast.com/bringingbabyhome. There's also an episode on troubleshooting issues that can come up in the first few days, and that's at pregnancypodcast.com/babytroubleshooting. Your belly will keep getting bigger until you go into labor. With only about 6 weeks to go, now's a good time to dial in your preparation and your plans for birth. You may find yourself anxious about going into labor. If you're scared about giving birth, you are certainly not alone. The best defense is to educate yourself. If you have a fear of things not going as planned, a backup plan can help you know what you would do in alternate scenarios. There are episodes of the Pregnancy Podcast that cover these topics, even including things like the truth about pooping during labor. As you're getting closer to your labor, you may consider arming yourself with some additional tools. No matter where you're having your baby, you can adjust your surroundings to create the best environment for you to feel calm and safe during labor. A basic understanding of labor positions and breathing during labor can also make a massive difference in how your labor goes. Evidence shows that upright or squatting positions can actually make your labor faster, and some specific breathing techniques can influence your perception of pain. The more tools that you have in your toolbox, the better. During labor and birth, oxytocin is the driving force of your contractions. Other hormones like beta endorphins and catecholamines counteract oxytocin to slow labor. That may sound like a bad thing, but when this works like it's supposed to, this balancing act keeps your labor at a pace where you can experience the positive effects and the relief from the beta endorphins, and that your body can handle the stress. Labor can slow down, stop, and even reverse when these stress hormones are too high. And this is the concept of PASMO. The good news is that there are steps that you can take to promote your labor progressing. Another thing you may want to consider starting this week is perineal massage. This is an exercise that's done in the weeks before birth with the aim of preventing tearing of your perineum. The theory behind this is that stretching this area leading up to birth is going to allow it to stretch more easily and without tearing when your baby is crowning. There's no universal consensus on the ideal frequency or duration of massage, but most mothers who utilize this start in week 34 or 35. For everything we've talked about this week, having fear about giving birth, having tools in your toolbox, understanding labor positions and breathing during labor, the concept of PASMO, there are episodes of the Pregnancy Podcast that dive into all of these topics. Lastly, if you are taking a birth class that takes place over a weekend, you should attend it within the next few weeks. A tip for dads and partners: A push present is a gift that you give your significant other after they have your baby. Not everyone is into this idea. It's definitely not mandatory, but if she expects a gift, you should be prepared to give one. The last thing that you want is a new mother who's disappointed that she didn't get a push present if she was expecting one. Thank you for tuning into the 40 Weeks podcast. You can see the full transcript and all of the resources for this episode at pregnancypodcast.com/week34. Next week, your baby's kidneys finish developing and their liver starts working. Until then, I wish you the very best in your pregnancy journey.